Hey, Juan here. Today let's talk about why do you need product teams, also known as product squads and sometimes cross-functional teams. Just to clarify things, I'm not talking about a product management team, I'm talking about a team who is responsible of delivering a product. Typically, this is going to consist of different people like product managers, product designers, software engineers, sometimes data scientists, data engineers, and so on. But in this video, I don't want to talk so much about who is in there, but why do you need this kind of team. So if we think about all the things that you need to get a product ready, you're going to need some scope of what the product is going to do, what problem is it solving, who is it for. You're also going to have some kind of design, so how the users are going to interact with this product and how they are going to benefit from it. You also had to technically implement this product, and you also had to be able to monitor how the users are interacting with your product. This means that in practice, there's going to be 4 traits that are going to be taken into account when you are creating a product. These are going to be product management, product design, engineering, and data. And it's true, not in all the products you are going to need all of them, or sometimes you might need some extra ones in order to create a product. So why do we need product teams, product squads, or cross-functional teams? The reality is that in most of the cases, although in principle looks good that you are covering all those disciplines, in reality, people don't tend to work together in a very efficient manner. So what happens many times, and still sadly happens in many companies, tech companies out there, is that teams tend to work a little bit on silos. A product management team works together with product managers, a product design team works together with product designers, and the same goes for engineering team and data teams. Basically, what happens then is that the perception of the way of working is that a product manager will work on some kind of requirements or product definition that will get passed then to the product designer, and then the product designer will work on some kind of design of how this product is going to work and how the user is going to interact with it. Then those 2 designs and specifications are going to be passed to the engineer, who will take a look at those specifications, and then he will start working, defining on how this product is going to be implemented technically. The same goes then for the data engineers of the data team, who will then take a look of all these stories and see what are the parts that need to be tracked, why, how, and so on. But the reality is that if you're working this way, you are pretty much working in a waterfall way. And the problem of working in a waterfall way is that pretty much everybody is from the get-go designing for perfection. And more often than not, these separate people are not going to meet very often to actually work together on refining those specifications or those designs that they have created. Sometimes they will have some meetings, that's probably true, but those are going to happen earlier in the project, and many times in some early phases of the project, the product managers might even disappear from the project for months in a row almost. And that is something that still happens nowadays, and that is a really big problem. So let's try to take a simple example. If I try to describe to you a house that I'm seeing in the background, and then you go and try to describe what I described to you to some other person, and the next person tries to do the same, there's a lot of information that is going to be lost in the middle, basically lost in translation. And what these product teams are trying to aim is trying to avoid these losses of information from happening continuously. What you want to do is that you want to share information as much as possible all the time, so everybody can be up to date and understand what's going on without building a product that probably is not according to what it was defined in the beginning and probably is not going to solve the problems that the users have. And sadly enough, in some organizations, the communication towards those product managers or even the product designers is not happening on a regular basis, and it's not something that the other teams are going to be willing to do. They just will work according to some specifications, and if it was not the specification, they will omit it, and then of course they will do their best attempt to interpret those specifications. Unsurprisingly, the results most often than not are not going to match what it was expected in the beginning. This is why you want to have product teams, and especially you want that the product manager, the product designer, the tech lead, and potentially the data lead are working very well together and aligning pretty much in a daily basis. Because they have to understand very well what they're trying to achieve and ideally even plan the things together from the get-go. Not just wait for the product manager to do all the work until the product designer starts. All of the whole team pretty much has to be part of the project or the definition or the planning of the product from the get-go. It is very important because then they understand everything from the get-go. There's going to be decisions that might be taken that will affect others. And if everything has been defined, means that things will have to be reworked or there's no time to actually go and plan them again. So it's very important that from the very beginning, those people are involved in working together. And there's many times when, for whatever reason, either the product designers knows the customers very well or the engineer has a really great idea of a new technology that we could take advantage to actually build that product. That is very important to get that feedback from the early phases of the project. So having these 3 or 4 people working together as a team, and of course the rest of the engineering team, the rest of the data team, designers, user researchers, whatnot, is going to benefit you a lot and your team and the products that you're trying to build, because you are going to be much more aligned from the get-go and also aligned in a continuous basis, making sure that those products that you are building are actually solving the problems that the customers have. And of course, having product teams is not going to solve all the problems. It's not going to help you necessarily finding the right problem and building the right solution. But it's definitely going to increase the chances that you are going to be successful when you're building the product to solve your users' problems. So how do you structure product teams in your company? Do you have everybody? Do you keep just only certain teams in there? You don't have maybe potentially data teams? Share in the comments below with the rest of us. Hey, if you like this topic and the video, I would appreciate it a lot if you give it a like. It helps a lot the channel and YouTube will share it with more people out there. If you want to hear more about product teams, product squads, or the 2 pizza teams as they called them back in the day, at least in Amazon, go check out this video. I will see you in the next one, and remember, stay safe.